Imagine walking alone at midnight, the wind whispering through the trees, the shadows stretching unnaturally across the path ahead. You come to a crossroads, three paths diverging into the darkness. A sudden chill creeps up your spine. You feel a presence. A flicker of movement just beyond your vision. And then, silence. In ancient Greece, this was no ordinary moment. The crossroads were sacred, but also cursed. Because if you were unfortunate enough to find yourself here under the wrong moon, you weren't alone. Hecate was watching. Hecate, the goddess of magic, witchcraft, and the night, is one of the most mysterious and terrifying figures in Greek mythology. Unlike the Olympians, she walks freely between the realms of the living, the dead, and the divine. She is neither bound by the heavens nor confined to the underworld. She exists in the shadows, where the veil between worlds is at its thinnest. And she has always been watching. But who is Hecate really? And why did the ancients fear her as much as they revered her? Today, we'll uncover the chilling truths, the rituals performed in her name, and the stories that have been buried in the darkness for centuries. Her origins and true nature. Hecate is an anomaly in Greek mythology. She is not an Olympian, nor is she bound by their rules. She is older, perhaps far older, than Zeus himself. Some believe she was a Titan, daughter of Persephone and Asteria, born before the great war between the Titans and the gods. And yet, Zeus did not banish her after the Titanomachy. Instead, he honored her, granting her dominion over the earth, the sea, and the sky. But unlike the other gods, Hecate did not concern herself with mortal affairs in the same way. She was no ruler of Olympus, no queen of the underworld. She was something else entirely. A goddess of boundaries. Of thresholds. Of the spaces in between. And those who sought her power had to be willing to step beyond the light. Her role in the underworld. Hecate holds a unique position among the gods, one that is unsettling even by divine standards. She is the only deity who can move freely between the realms of Olympus, Earth, and the underworld without consequence. While other gods had to follow the laws of life and death, Hecate walked between them as she pleased. In the myth of Persephone's abduction, it was Hecate who heard the screams of the goddess as Hades dragged her into the underworld. And when Persephone was forced to spend half the year in darkness, it was Hecate who became her companion, her guide in the realm of the dead. She alone understood the shadows. But her connection to the underworld went far beyond this. The dead did not simply rest under her gaze. They moved. They followed. Some myths suggest that Hecate commands legions of restless spirits, ghosts that wander the crossroads, whispering secrets to those who dare to listen. Rituals and offerings, the crossroads and the feast of the dead. The ancients knew better than to cross Hecate. They feared her wrath. But they also sought her favor. Every month, on the night of the new moon, offerings were left at crossroads in her name. These were known as Hecate suppers. People left food, often eggs, garlic, fish, and honey cakes, as tribute. But once the offering was given, you could not look back. To do so was to invite misfortune, or worse, to see the shadows of the dead that followed in Hecate's wake. And these rituals weren't just for the desperate. Even generals and kings sought her blessings before war, believing she could offer protection, or destruction. Some say that even today, if you leave an offering at a crossroads under the right conditions, Hecate will answer. Hecate and the moon, the dark omens. Hecate's connection to the night runs deeper than mere superstition. She is tied to the phases of the moon, particularly the dark, unseen moon, the time when the world is most vulnerable to magic. The ancients believed that nights without a visible moon were when Hecate walked the earth. Dogs would howl at nothing, shadows would move on their own, and the boundary between the living and the dead would thin. This was the time of curses, of prophecy, of dark rites performed in secret. This was Hecate's domain. And those who ignored the signs did so at their peril. Her connection to ghosts and dark magic. Hecate was more than a goddess of magic. She was the guardian of secrets that should never be spoken. She was the patron of witches, of necromancers, of those who sought forbidden knowledge. Her followers were said to practice chthonic rites, rituals meant to call upon spirits from the depths of the earth. They whispered incantations in the dead of night, invoking her name, asking for visions of the future, for protection, for power. Some even claimed that Hecate could grant mastery over ghosts, allowing mortals to command the spirits of the dead. But such power came at a cost. One did not summon Hecate lightly. For those who did, the line between the living and the dead could disappear entirely. Overlooked myths and final revelations. Despite her fearsome reputation, Hecate was not purely malevolent. She was also a protector, a guardian of those who walked alone in the dark. She watched over travelers at night, guided lost souls, and, when she chose, granted wisdom beyond mortal understanding. But she demanded respect. She was never a goddess to be worshipped lightly. To call upon her was to acknowledge that you were willing to step beyond the safety of the known world, to embrace the mystery, the danger, the power that lay in the shadows. And even now, in the silent hours of the night, when the streets are empty and the wind carries whispers unheard by most, who's to say she isn't still watching? Hecate is more than just a myth. She is a reminder of the unseen forces that lurk just beyond our understanding. A goddess who exists where light fades and darkness reigns. Whether you seek her or fear her, she remains, at the crossroads, in the whispers of the night, in the spaces where the veil is thin. And if you ever find yourself at a lonely intersection, under a moonless sky, with the wind whispering a name you do not recognize, do not look back. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.